name is David Hartful from Black Leader Analysis, and I want to talk to you about the conspiracy to kill HBUs. Let me switch my tripod up. Yes, I want to talk to you about the conspiracy to kill HBCUs. So, I've been watching Yvette Carnell, of course, one of my favorite YouTube channels. And I've also been doing some research on my own and just knowing different things about HBCUs and things. I went to University of Tennessee, PWI. But I hear a lot of talk about, like, there's a conspiracy to kill HBCUs. And recently on Yvette Carnell's channel, she was talking to these people from Bennett College. And Bennett College was worried about raising $5 million to stay as a running, functioning university. So they have been trying to raise $5 million for a few months now, maybe even a year. This is the first time I even heard about the issue. And 2 days ago, they only had 67% of their goal. I've been keeping up with them, and it's 6 p.m. on the last day, and they said they just got $1 million donation from High Point University. I assume High Point's also in North Carolina with Bennett, but they still haven't reached their $5 million yet. They only have a couple hours to the deadline. And so one of the things the guy in Bennett College was trying to advocate for, he was saying that, Black America has to decide if they want HBCUs or not. And I understand what he's saying, but could it be that we've kind of decided that we don't want HBCUs? I mean, during that call or that show, she was Yvette Carnell, or the guy from Bennett College, I can't remember his name. One of them said only 9% of black undergraduates even go to HBCUs. And I've also read statistics before that the amount of black undergraduates we have, all of them, if they even wanted to go to HBCUs, they couldn't all go to HBCUs now anyway. And to some extent, that's a good thing because we have a lot more black people getting quality educations now. And even, it wasn't Antonio Moore, but Alexander from the Yvette Carnell show was saying that Georgia Southern University is actually getting more black students than the Clark, Atlanta, Morehouse, Spelman conglomerate. And so if that's happening even in Atlanta, then are we just saying that we just rather go to PWIs and rather go to integrated schools? I mean, I remember when I went to University of Tennessee, I went there from 2000 to 2005. I knew a lot of black folks, and black folks are always complaining about there's not enough black people that go to this school. They feel alone. But I mean, they didn't go to TSU. They could have gone to Lane. Out of state, it's in the South. So I mean, they could have gone to Jackson State, Arkansas State, Southern. If you got in the University of Tennessee, you probably could have gotten to most of those other schools. Your grades were pretty high if you got in the University of Tennessee. So, why didn't they just go ahead and transfer or leave? I mean, they went to University of Tennessee in Knoxville, Tennessee, the heart of Appalachia. It's not a lot of black people there anyway. And, most people I knew that were serious about studying graduated, and it wasn't that bad of an experience. I loved my experience at the University of Tennessee. I love my alma mater. I mean, yes, there were some times when people did some racist stuff, or I got some grades where I wondered if I was white, would I have been graded as harshly? But all in all, I'm glad I went there. Most people I know from HBCUs, they talk a lot about how the administration wasn't good and how the administration messed over their paperwork or wouldn't process things, or a lot of the issues that people had at HBCUs, just dealing with other people there too. Because I mean, so at a PWI you'll experience racism. Well, at a HBCU you'll experience people saying you're not black enough. So I mean, is it really different? Um, there are teachers that are going to grade you unfairly at an HBCU. So, I mean, is it really different? Um, I just saw an article a little while ago talking about Hampton University. And Hampton University is going to make a statue to George W. Bush because he gave a lot of money to Hampton over the years. So, I mean, George H.W. Bush, he was the man who pardoned the people from Iran-Contra. Iran-Contra is the controversy that we sold guns to Iran and allowed Contras in Nicaragua to sell drugs in America, and that started the crack boom. So George H.W. Bush is the guy who pardoned the people that caused the crack boom. He was also involved with a lot of the Willie Horton ads and the Welfare Queen ads and a lot of the racist Republican ads from the 80s and 90s. So this man is about to have a statue at Hampton University. And when you think about it, if you got to go to campus and see a statue of George H.W. Bush, what's the difference between that and having a dorm named after a Confederate soldier or a segregationist governor? I mean, what's really the difference? If anything, the George H.W. Bush statue was worse because what he did was more recent and had more of a direct effect over your life. So if you can go to Hampton and put up with a George H.W. Bush statue, why couldn't you put up with a dorm named after a Confederate or something like that? So, I mean, it's getting to the point to where are the PWIs or HBCUs really providing a really unique service? You know, these people tried to say that going to an HBCU makes you more prepared to advocate for your people. Well, Kamala Harris went to an HBCU. I mean, she's not wanting to advocate for us at all. I mean, she was one of the most draconian prosecutors in San Francisco. Herman Cain went to Morehouse. He's part of the Republican Party, 100% supporting Trump. So, I mean, why didn't it work for those people? I mean, is the need to advocate for your race, is something that can be instilled in you, or is it something that has to be innately in you? And if it's innately in you, can you develop that skill no matter where you're at? And is it just building a good network where you're at going to help you develop the skill? There's a lot of people in my undergraduate class I felt like were real advocates. So I mean, if you wanted to go to Berkeley, University of California, would that not be a great place to build your ability to be an advocate for black people? I mean, it's the most liberal campus in the country. University of Oregon, the same thing. You couldn't learn how to advocate for your people there. And if anything, you'll get more support because there's more liberal white people that would support you there. So, I mean, I'm not convinced that HBCUs necessarily teach you how to advocate for your people. If anything, it'll just give you something that you can say, well, I'm a part of this tradition, even though I haven't really done anything. So, I mean, I think that instead of saying there's a conspiracy to kill all the HBCUs, I think it's more accurate just to say that the market is speaking. And at the moment, the way it's speaking is just saying that HBCUs just don't have a function. I mean, people aren't wanting to go there anymore. I mean, especially with the tuition being so much higher than a state university. I mean, if we get some more left-leaning congressmen, some more left-leaning politicians in, it's a good chance that state colleges may be tuition-free or lower cost. You know, like Tennessee, they said 2 years of community college is now free. So that's in Tennessee, a red state. So as you go through that, are you going to go to an HBCU the first 2 years and spend, maybe 60 grand going? Or are you going to go to community colleges 2 years and do the last 2 years of HBCU, which means they have less students? I mean, we really have to think about and be honest with ourselves about what we want. I mean, should you be going to a PWI and complaining there's not enough black folks there instead of just going to an HBCU? And if you're choosing to not go to an HBCU, you just need to admit that this is where you want to be. You like an integrated environment. You like being around different people from different races. And yes, you want to have your alphas, your kappas, and your deltas. there on campus, and you have that if you want to be around a group of just all black people. But ultimately, you want the school to be integrated, and it's what you want. I mean, you're not spending the money and the time to go to an HBCU. And I think one thing black people can do is be more honest with ourselves about what we want and what we enjoy. I mean, we don't want to separate. I mean, at this point, we could have really made some steps towards that by now if we really wanted to. We want to integrate, and we should be honest about that, and then advocate for that integration. So, one thing I noticed when I was in UT that used to really irk me was that black people would do everything they can to isolate and stigmatize other black people for either not being black enough, or back when I was in school, it was a big beef between Nashville versus Memphis. And every incoming group of freshmen was like that, where Nashville people, black people, didn't like Memphis black people. And I talked to friends of mine from Penn State, and they said it was Pittsburgh versus Philly. And then I talked to people from North Carolina, and they said it was two places in North Carolina. So I think a lot of the reasons black people have a hard time at PWIs is this tribalism and not really just finding reasons to work and be around other black people. I mean, every time you meet somebody black, you got this litmus test for them. All you're going to do is set yourself up to be alone even more. So, I'll have to say I enjoyed my time at a PWI. I was around people from all different races. It didn't really bother me much. And I think most of the people that went to UT would say the same thing. Because if they didn't think that way, they would have transferred and gone to an HBCU.